Good morning and welcome to the program. I'm your host, George Rideout, and as always, working the soundboard is Lynn. This morning is going to be an awesome morning. We got a wicked guest. We have Diane Maytwayashing with us via phone. She's out at the Sacred White Shell. I'll just read this little bit that's coming up. There's a Mother Earth gathering, Women of All Nations gathering coming up, and I'll just read a little bit and get you caught up. In the White Shell Park, Manitoba, Canada. Welcoming all to the second annual Women's Gathering, Mother Earth Gathering, Women of All Nations. The event is about love and connecting with the spirit of women of all nations, cultures, and races to come together to heal so we can unite as one, to become the new Earth people and rainbow people for the rebirth of a new Earth. On June 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th, 2014 at the White Shell Provincial Park in Manitoba at the Manitou Abbey. And I'm going to ask Diane a question here because I've heard two things about this. I've heard where the spirit sits, and I've also heard where the spirits sit. So I have to ask about that. And their theme this coming spring is healing with Mother Earth's energy and medicines. I'm going to ask her about that too and how important that combination is. We will work on ancient and natural healing methods through earthing, grounding. Mother Earth knows what we need for healing. The Indigenous people have always earthed for thousands of years. It is only today that mainstream medicine is finally catching on, and ain't that the truth? The Mother Earth Gathering Women of All Nations event is a call to all women of nations and cultures to bring back our ancient earth ways and ancient matriarchy by sharing and reviving our ancient earth ways, understanding who are the earth mothers, the earth clan systems on Mother Earth, but most importantly, to live in balance and harmony with nature, to live in balance with nature and the laws of the universe. Welcome to the program, Diane. Did I mess up your last name that much?
No, it was perfect.
Awesome.
I told you it was going to be easy.
Yeah. But, so now maybe give us a bit of background. What brought you to the White Shell?
Well, a friend had brought me here probably maybe 17 years ago. We were out picking cedar and sage and some Labrador tea. And he said, I want to take you to this place where people used to go and have ceremonies, but they don't really go there very much anymore. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, and there's these stones there that you have to see. So he brought me here to Bannock Point, and I saw these. But, when we got here, I was like, there was something inside me, and it was like, I know this place. I've been here before. And it was kind of like coming home. And I was very emotional. We walked around and we looked at the petriforms. It was so interesting because he knew all the shapes of what they represented, and it was awesome, and it was so emotional. And I said, I feel like I've been here before, and I have to come back. So we came back, and we came back the second time. I told him, I said, I have to come back and fast here. So that was the start of that, of finding the area here. And so ever since then, I've been back here to fast. And for the first few years, I couldn't get enough of the place, so I'd be back like maybe 3-4 times. And when I was fasting here, the first 2 years, I fasted alone. I said, just drop me off and leave me alone and let me fast. But it was incredible because it's such the energy of this place is amazing. I mean, you just walk into, I don't know if you've been to Bannock Point, but if you walk up the path there, you can feel the energy of the place. That you know that it's a sacred place. You feel it. Your body feels it. There's something very special, very sacred about the area. So that's what started it out for me. And After that, I moved to Minnesota, and even though when I lived in Minnesota, I would still come here and fast, and I'd still come back, and I thought, what am I doing? And it was, and every time I finished my fast and go back to Minnesota, as I would leave the park, I'd be crying because it was like, I can't leave this place. I have to come back. So there was some kind of connection with this place. For me, now when I think about it, or now, you know, I understand what it is. It's because this is my calling. This is, to me, when I'm over there at the petroforms, Bannock Point, around the stones, that's my home. Even when I think about it, I get emotional because it's my home.
I can so understand. Way back in the mid-'80s, I was living in Alberta, and this friend of mine gave me this. I think I don't really remember the magazine, and I don't even know whether this pamphlet was even part of the magazine, but he handed me this magazine, and inside was this pamphlet, and this is why this is kind of cool. It was Rebirth of Mother Earth Gathering, Medicine Wheel, or Rebirth of Mother Earth Medicine Wheel Gathering at Edgewood, BC, and something hit me then and there, and I just knew I had to go. So I hitchhiked out. It took me 4 days, and I fasted for 4 days as I hitchhiked out. On the third night, I was serenaded by coyotes. It was awesome. And I was just at Fuck Yay Ferry, and that's the actual name. Anyway, that night I dreamt of 7 people, and I got up the next morning. I could remember their faces, and I thought, wow, that was a wicked dream. That was so cool. And as I walked into what were once old rodeo grounds, where they were holding this gathering, was a woman I just dreamt of the night before. And this beautiful, her name is Strong Standing Woman, and she's Selena, and she's just standing there, you know, getting her tent ready, and I just walked up to her and said, you know, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I just dreamt of you last night. And all she did was open up her arms and said, welcome, brother. From that, later on, a couple of days after that, after the gathering, she took me to this little cave. It's more of an overhang in BC. I'm not going to give the exact coordinates because it's, I'm trying to save it because people were lighting fires in there for a good 12 years or so. I was like the caretaker of the place. There's pictographs, and it's that same kind of, when I put my hand up to it, and I bet that you'll get this. When I put my hand, I wish I had my poem, I'd read it to you, but I don't have it on me. I put my hand on it, and I just felt home. That's the only word that would come, was home. I think what gives a person that feeling are the ancestors of that place speaking to you.
Yes.
So I totally understand when you say that it was home. I get it. So how long now were you like born in the prairies, Sarah, or were you born in the States?
I was born in Portage de Prairie,
okay.
And I grew up in Winnipeg, but I lived in different places. I lived in BC for less than a year. I lived on and off in Minnesota for, 8 years. But, and Winnipeg.
Yeah.
People ask me, so you grew up in Winnipeg and you spent most of your life, is that your home? Well, I don't really feel like, it's my home, but I think more this place is, I believe that it's my life purpose, that I am meant to be here because of so many things that brought me here, that it was such a strong calling, a strong pull. And, even though it was it's like falling in love, and you just, when you part, it's so difficult. And I couldn't wait to move here. And for 10 years, I was waiting for some kind of house for rent or something so I could move here. So finally, my time came, and I've been here for 2.5 years now. And my life has changed. And I think what I had thought was, okay, yay, I'm going to go live out in the Whiteshell, and I'm going to, maybe go fishing, boating, and enjoying the outdoors and visiting the petroforms and praying. But things changed when, just before moving here, I was given a telephone number to an elder who was living here with his wife, And I had called him a couple of times when I lived in Minnesota, and we talked. And I knew he lived here in Seven Sister Falls, the late Don Cardinal. So, we talked a couple of times. And I have a friend here who I met when I was fasting, Ron Bell.
Yes.
And a lot of people know Ron Bell.
That's who I was told if I ever wanted to have a tour of the forums, that's the person I was supposed to see.
Yeah. I've done tours here for Womyn. But Ron lives right in Nudamik.
Ah.
Yeah, and he's used to the area, and it's become his life too. So I think maybe what it is that I believe that we're just so meant to be here to do our work. And I know I'm meant to be here to do my work. It was like I was waiting to come here, move here. I couldn't wait. Anyways, back to the time of when I moved here. So I thought I was going to relax. But this elder had passed away before I moved here. He had passed away probably now it's going on 5 or 6 years. So I never had a chance to actually meet him. I had heard he passed away, but I met his wife. She told me, she said, and I told her, I said, I found a place to rent there, and I'm moving out there. And she said, wow, that's exciting. So she was telling me that before he passed away, that he said that he swears that there were remains of ancestors buried all around here. And
wow.
So it was really interesting because the way he said he smelt them.
Oh, interesting.
You can smell the ancestors buried all over here. So what she did was she researched the area and she asked people in town, and sure enough, they said, yeah, they said they found remains, bones along the falls, Seven Sister Falls.
Holy.
So it turns out that, from elders that have come here, I have taken elders there to get their feel of things, and they said, yeah, there's actually a mass graveyard here all along the river here, along the waterfalls.
I had not heard that before.
Yeah, neither did I. So I thought I was going to come here and just relax and live in peace, and yeah, and then it hasn't been that way.